Every business coach I've worked with or learned from has told me basically the same thing: to do more, add more, scale bigger. And for the better part of the last 9 years, that's exactly what I did. I built 3 businesses: a design agency, a coaching and education company, and sort of a personal brand. But now, almost 9 years later, the most important thing that those 3 businesses have taught me is that more is, dare I say, almost never the answer. If you're feeling spread thin, confused about your brand, or like you're constantly doing all the things but somehow still feel behind, I hope this episode sparks something for you, because I want to give you permission today to stop trying to fit into any box. Actually, I want to do more than that. I want to encourage you to flip the box upside down, empty it out, and smash it completely. There is no ceiling. There is only this big, beautiful life, and it's yours to design however you want. So today, I'm going to share with you how I'm combining 3 brands under one umbrella, and what that has looked like for me, and all of the ups and downs, and what that can also look like for you. We are constantly being sold a framework and how-tos online, and don't get me wrong, I love a good framework. I sell them also. But what I want for you today is to take everything you think about how a business is supposed to look and think even bigger. So let's dive in. Welcome to Behind the Design, the podcast for ambitious women building a business and life they're truly obsessed with. I'm your host, Olivia Austin, mom of 2, brand strategist, business mentor, and life enthusiast. Since 2017, I've built multiple businesses, supported hundreds of brands, and overcome burnout more times than I can count. What I've learned is that strategy and hustle will only take you so far. It's your habits, mindset, and vision that actually get you to your next level. Each week, I'll take you behind the curated websites and highlight reels to share the truth about what it takes to thrive in business and life. From high-performance habits and mindset to navigating motherhood with more ease to wellness and business strategies, all through a feminine lens, Behind the Design helps you create a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. I'm so happy you're here. Let's dive in. First, the elephant in the room, I'm in a podcast studio, like a real actual podcast studio. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hi, you can see my face now, which is either exciting or terrifying, depending on how you feel about it. But this is the new era of Behind the Design that I've been slowly sharing and excited and teasing about. And I'm finally just diving all in. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, you actually can. And we have video now, and I'm in a legitimate studio. There's so much more that happened than just moving and relocating to Wilmington. My entire business and the way that I'm operating behind the scenes, and even not even just behind the scenes, but in the forefront, has completely changed. And you guys are here for the evolution. I know so many listeners have been here since the inception of Behind the Design and have been around for my entrepreneurial journey when I was literally in my early 20s, just bopping around the world designing brands, to now being a mom of 2. So if you have been here from the beginning, I literally would not be here without you. So I'm so grateful. Now a lot has changed, mostly just in my life. I'm a mom, the business has changed, and I'm again, have relocated, but this show has always been my favorite thing to do, and it's just about to get so much better. There is no cap, there is no box. I'm not talking to a specific person. I'm not talking to any specific business owner, just anyone that wants to live their life to the fullest and build a business and life that they're absolutely obsessed with. So we're going video, we're going deeper, and I'm showing up completely differently because I am different. And like I said, so much has changed, and that's kind of what today is all about. If you are on my email list, you know that I sent out a massive email about how I'm combining all 3 brands that I have into one umbrella, and the response that I got to that was absolutely insane. I got so many messages of encouragement, of inspiration, of feeling empowered to do the same thing for your businesses. So I thought, why not come on here and yap about it, because that's what I'm really good at. So whether you're, again, new here or you've been with me since the beginning, I'm so glad you're here. So let's talk about burning it all down and bringing it back up. So first, I want to talk about what was going on. And I did do a podcast episode recently about all of the new revenue streams that I built this year, what is staying the same, what's new, and what's to come. So I don't want to talk about that too much. So go back and listen to that episode. But what really started all of this is that I was managing 3 brands separately. And for some reason, I always wanted to keep Current and my design agency completely separate. I didn't want that to be my entire identity. Yet it turned into that. So I had my design agency, which it was my complete full identity. Like anyone asked me what I did, I'm a brand and website designer. I own a design agency. And then I started the education company, the Studio Co., specifically for designers. I've been known as a coach and mentor only for designers. And I just felt very put into a box with that because it's so much more than that. And I am so much more than quote unquote, just a designer. And I really felt like I had reached my limit within that type of content and strategy. Now, all that to say, the Studio Co. is not under this umbrella. So the brands that I'm combining is Current Design Studio, Behind the Design, and my personal brand by Olivia Austin. So I have always had my one-to-one coaching clients have always been behind the scenes. I've never had a sales page. I've never done any marketing besides like posting on my Instagram stories. And then same thing with Behind the Design. Like you guys that are listening and that have been listening I don't even know where you came from because I rarely do any marketing or anything. And so that all of those brands just felt like they were floundering. And I was kind of like basically I was managing 3 Instagrams, 3 separate websites, and it just felt very spread out and spread thin. And like the advice that I give to all of my coaching clients, if you're spreading yourself so thin and you're doing too many things at once, you're unable to completely focus. And what was even more confusing is that I was all of those things. So a lot of times with my design clients, they would hire me for brand strategy and business consulting. So we would go through this whole range of full-scale consulting where I'm helping them develop their brand, their offer suite, their marketing, their positioning, their pillars. And then we would go on to brand design, website design, and then they would also bring me on for like marketing consulting, which in hindsight, like is everything that I do for my coaching clients and everything. So it didn't make sense even at this stage that I'm at now to have everything separate. And like I said, I'm someone who preaches, teaches, going all in on one thing. And I wasn't doing that for myself. And also on like the audience piece for you guys, I felt like it was confusing. Like, where am I sending you? Where are you going? Like, you look up my name and then, it just was a lot. So I really wanted to lean in to have it all under one umbrella because the thing is I'm always going to be an entrepreneur. There are so many facets of my life that I know are going to grow and expand within the next 1, 2, 3, 10 years. And I didn't want to constantly have to keep making all these brands for it. Just have it under one brand, which is me. And as I grow and evolve, the brand and the business can grow and evolve as well. So that's kind of where this piece came from. And to be completely honest, I've been thinking about doing this for years. Like this has probably been 3 years in the making. And it wasn't until December of this past year, so December 2025, that I was like, okay, something has to change. And then I don't even know what happened, but something snapped where overnight I just did it. So there's that. That just is basically the epitome of who I am. So if you're wondering like when the right time, if you're like, wow, this is really sparking something in me, or I think that I need to do this, or I've been wanting to do it, you just need to do it and take messy action. Otherwise, if you're constantly waiting for the plan or the right time, there isn't going to be the right time and you're always going to talk yourself out of it. Okay, so going into how I actually made all of this happen and what that overnight snap kind of looked like. So I've hinted before that this year has just been absolutely insane and everything moved really, really quickly to relocating and moving and then changing the business and doing all of those different things. And what really got me was my family and realizing that like what we wanted for our life and and how I was going to get there. And like if my husband and I wanted to start another business, or we wanted him to not be in corporate anymore, what does that look like and how can I contribute and fuel that? Because I have no limit to my abundance and like money making, basically. Like I feel like if I could work 5 days a week like I used to, we would be great. So anyway, so we like really went back and we got to the root and the vision of what we wanted as a family and how to do that was possible. And it really came down to me going all in on one thing and being hyper focused. And that's how we got here. And the weight that was lifted off of my shoulders when we made that realization, and when I made that realization of like, this is how I'm going to show up, literally everything just was falling into place because I was now operating in alignment and in my zone of genius. So there is, I should say, a lot of unknown and surrendering and letting go. But that is just knowing that and being okay with it is a part of the season. And I know I'm going to learn a lot of lessons for that. So if you are kind of in the same boat, or you have an inkling, or there's an intuition where you're like, I've been wanting to do this, but I haven't done it, listening to that and not worrying about the how and surrendering the how is going to get you so much further than sitting and planning and strategizing and spiraling basically about how to do it, how to make money, how to get to that next step. The how will come naturally, and it probably will come in more ways than you ever thought, and you'll be more abundant in that light anyway. There's always going to be that fear, but usually, and what I've learned through all of this, that the uncomfortable and hard thing is the path to go. It's very easy to stay comfortable and stay where you were. Like we could have easily stayed in our house in New Hampshire with the job, with the business, grinding away, sending the kids to daycare and like doing all that things. Like that would have been really easy because that's like, a life that is amazing, but that wasn't ours. And we did the hard thing of relocating, pivoting the business, like stopping the corporate, like doing all of those things. And that has like there is no ceiling and the opportunities are absolutely endless. And even though it's hard and we're still in it and it's hard right now, it's hard today, we know that in, 6 months, a year, 3 years, we're going to be down a completely different road, and one that aligns way more than where we were going. Real quick, if you're someone who's been listening to this and thinking, okay, but how do I actually make this work around my life? I made something for you. It's a free workbook called 6 Figures, Part-Time Hours, The Ambitious Founder's Guide to Building Without Burnout. For the last 3 years, I've worked 3 days a week running 2 businesses that make multiple 6 figures per year separately, and this work is the exact framework that makes this possible. You'll get hyper clear on what's holding you back, where to focus, and what your exact next steps are to remove overwhelm and start to thrive in business and life. It's completely free. Check out the link in the show notes to download it now. Okay, back to the episode. After all of that fluffiness of just like, inspiration and mindset, this is what it actually took to remove and combine those 3 brands. And this was genuinely the hardest part because for me, my ego, I had to go through such an ego death because Current Design Studio is everything to me. Like that is what started my entrepreneur. That's how I became an entrepreneur. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a plan B. I just randomly woke up and quit my job one day and started this company that turned into this multi-million-dollar enterprise basically, or studio that I'm so proud of. And again, who am I if I don't have that design agency? Like I don't have the agency, especially having the studio code that definitely boosts my authority to having Current and having those types of clients. But it's not like that is going away. It's just going under one and it's going under me. Like I was trying to think like, architects and lawyers, like their businesses are named after them. I could have, Austin and Austin if I really wanted. So I had to just get rid of that ego. So one thing I would encourage you to do if you're not making a decision or you're thinking, I can't, I shouldn't, is can you actually not? Or is that your ego? And are you just holding on to it because it's just what you've always done? For me, it was the ego work of admitting that and admitting that doing less and putting it all under one, that was what I had to be ruthlessly honest about. And that is what really separated that step, was when I realized that it was not out of a business decision. It wasn't out of revenue. It wasn't going to make me more profitable, less profitable. It was truly just an ego of not wanting to let go of that identity. And once I was able to work through that, that's when I was genuinely able to make that's next step. So the ego death was the first on like how to actually combine them, because the rest of it was actually super easy. I just made the different sales pages. I figured out, and I will say, if you go to my website right now, I'm not super proud of it. But again, taking messy action and not allowing the strategy and the planning to hold me back from this next step and getting eyeballs and visibility out. So surrendering has been a really big thing. There's a version of this that could look like giving up, and it could look like, oh, she, stopped her agency or did that. But again, I don't think that anyone's thinking that except for me. No one thinks about you and your business as much as you think about you and your business. Like literally nobody is watching you as much as you would like to believe that they are. And so I had to be okay with that perception. And again, I don't think anyone was thinking that. It was just me. And I had to just surrender what other people were thinking, and again, holding on to that identity that no longer fit. The other thing I had to do, and that I would encourage you to do, is just trusting the unknown. I used to be really good at this in my 20s. I think becoming a mom, I'm just not available for not controlling everything. But trusting the unknown is that I don't have a guarantee that this will work. And I have to be okay with that. And I made the decision without a roadmap. I just truly followed my intuition and what's been pushing me forward over the last, year or years. And I'm choosing clarity over certainty in this time. So the practical piece to all of this is now, under By Olivia Austin, we will have branding and website design. And then we will have coaching. So one-to-one coaching through either a 3 or 6 month container, and then through any sort of like clarity session. And then I'm also going to be building out an entire passive income arm, like I mentioned in this last episode, of website templates, courses, guides, and all of those things. And what's encompassed under all of that is just building a business and life that you're obsessed with. So if you are an ambitious founder that is wanting to build, grow, scale your business, whatever that business is, you can come to me and either work with my team, with me individually, or purchase a course or anything to help builds that dream for you. And it's just all under one umbrella versus having to go to all these different brands. All that to say, not having these separate content strategies, the split audience, and just like the mental overhead of like maintaining all of these brand identities has been way easier than I thought. I think after surrendering, after just letting go, that really just made it a lot easier for me to just move on and just take the next steps. Now that I've been blabbing about my story and giving you behind the scenes of what really the mental walkthrough of combining those 3 brands, and if this episode if everything I've said doesn't sound super clear, it's because I'm still very much in the thick of it. I'm very much every single day tweaking things, going through things, re-strategizing, but always taking action. And I think that's why I love the podcast so much, is that you guys are really learning alongside of me, and I'm able to share things as they're happening versus going back and going through everything and reflecting. That's something I'm not actually very good at. So yeah, I think that if you're, listening to this, I hope that it gave you some inspiration and just some like inner knowing for your own self. And I want to leave you with some questions to ask yourself if you were, anything sparked any sort of anything in you. So, and these are some questions that I wish I had asked myself sooner. So if you're like in the thick of your business, you're in the day-to-day and you're unable to reflect or think differently, I want you to give yourself that space to do that and think about, what are you doing right now out of momentum rather than intention? So meaning, you started it, it's running, but if you're being completely honest with yourself, you'd let it go if you gave yourself permission. And I ask that because literally nothing wrong with my design studio. Like, we were bringing on new clients every single month. I've been working with the same clients for years. We are constantly getting referrals, bringing in new clients. There was nothing wrong with the way that things were operating. It would have been easy to stay, like I said, and keep going, but I knew that it wasn't aligned with where I want to be in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. It just didn't align. And so it could be very easy to be stuck in the day-to-day, but if you zoom out and you look, you really need to think, like, does this align? Does it align with where I'm going? Another question to ask is, if you've stripped everything back to the one thing you are best at and love the most, what would you keep? And that question alone changed everything, because as I was saying to before talking about this episode, is like, I would love to just get paid to talk. So I love podcasting and I love coaching and consulting and telling people what to do. And that is really what came down to, like, where should I be putting most of my energy? Okay, and then the third question I have for you is your business set up to serve your life, or have you accidentally built a life that serves your business? Meaning, is your business built around your life first, or is it the other way around? And I'm constantly saying this, and it's really important that you actually look, because there's literally no point to have a business if it's controlling every single part of your life. If you're unable to go to the beach, at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, if you're unable to pick your kids up from school or do something that you really want to do, or your clients are driving you crazy, you're just exchanging a 9 to 5 for a 5 to 9. So just make sure that your business is serving your life and not the other way around. So I really invite you to sit with those questions and not blow everything up, but just be really, really honest with yourself and do that reflection and decide where are you going and what you're doing on a daily basis. Does that align with your big vision? Business should energize your life, not completely consume it. And the path there is almost always requires doing less. Like, I could guarantee if I were to sit inside your business for 90 minutes, I would tell you are doing too much. You need to be doing less, better, with more intention. And I'm speaking from experience for myself, from mentoring hundreds of business owners, that you want to be doing less. So remove those distractions, get very clear, answer those questions, and I think you will get to where you want to go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next week.